Well, hello again, and welcome to the next episode of Holding History. For those of you who have been following the channel for a little while, you already know that I'm doing a series page by page on my United States typeset, and this would be page 3, which is going to include 20-cent piece, quarters, and the first few half dollars that comprise the set of United States type coins. So we'll go ahead and get started here with this odd denomination, the 20-cent piece. Without further ado. Alright, 20-cent piece, here it is. Nothing fancy for this one. Seated Liberty quarter, is it? Or is it not? You can take a look at my video on that, where I show just the reason why these just did not become popular in circulation. They looked almost exactly like the Seated Liberty quarter, and they were almost exactly the same size. So here you go, 1875, very common, one of the common years. They were only struck, as you can see, really for 1875 and 76 in any real numbers. 77 and 78, they were mainly just proofs and sort of curiosities even by that point. So there's a 20-cent piece, and then we have the very first quarter that is in this set. There are earlier issue quarters than this by all means, but they are rather expensive, especially when you get to the early bust quarters. So this is the first one that's a part of this set. This one has undergone an old cleaning, but it has retoned quite nicely and has quite a bit of detail on it. These are fairly hard to come by in any real quality condition. So this is the best that I could do for filling the set, and it is a fairly recent replacement for an older one which was in really bad shape. So I put that one out to pasture and got a little bit of a nicer looking example to go in this book. So there you go. Starting in with the Seated Liberty quarters. This is an 1858, fairly common year, easy to come by, and this one's just not really that nice, but fills the hole nicely. 1854 with arrows in episode 2. I already covered why they added the arrows in the 50s and again in the 70s. And then here is a fairly nice last year issue. Some scratch marks. Someone took some sort of a tool to this one. Who knows how long ago? But lots of nice detail there in despite of the little damage below Liberty and then to the right of her. Continuing on with quarters, here is a nice first year Barber quarter. A little scratch in front of her nose now that I look at it, but either way, this has got some cartwheel dirt on here. It's a nice effect, but it is grungy. It's not toning. It's just, well, it could be toning, but I'm thinking it's just kind of grunged up. Anyway, it has a nice look to it. Moving on into the the Standing Liberty. I seem to have trouble with that. Standing Liberty, these are the two different types. Type 1 on the left, only minted for 2 years. A lot of controversy about those coins. You can read about that. I won't really cover that here. And then on the right is the slightly duller and changed second version of those coins. This is just a common year 1927. Alright, here's one that I'm rather proud of. In first glance, it may just appear to be just a regular 1938 uncirculated quarter, but this one, I'm not sure if it'll show up here on the camera. It's hard to get those fields to mirror. This would be a proof. This is a proof 1938, which are rather hard to come by. The proofs in any numbers only began to resume production in about 1936, after quite a few years of cessation of proof strikes. And so this was only 3 years after they began striking them again. They don't have this, by comparison, here's a 71 proof. They don't quite have the reflective fields of those later issues, but they are proofs, and this one is about a 3-digit coin versus the uncirculated, which is not nearly that. So there's a nice couple of Washingtons there for you to fill the album. And then going on into half dollars, I may have to zoom out just a bit on these in order to get the aspect ratio to show up correctly. Alright, this would be cap bust, which a very long and illustrious history to these coins. Both of these are rather late. This is actually the very last year of the lettered edge variety, but this one has a lot of good detail left on it. Had this one for quite a number of years. And then here's a likely cleaned reeded edge variety, which was only struck for just 3 or 4 years before the seated Liberty eventually replaced it. So nice look on that one. Seated Liberty beginning in the 1830s. This is again 1858 is a very common year for this. A little damage on this one, but you know, passable detail on it and kind of a nice color. Moving on down to the seated continuation. This is the with arrows 1854. As you can see, the mintage year on that one. And then a little damage on the reverse of this one, actually quite a bit. But this is the often overlooked second series of arrows variety, I believe 1873 and 74. Arrows were added back to indicate another change in the silver weight of these, but that's often overlooked as a type. As a matter of fact, in these books, you only have the arrows that includes 1853, 54, and 55, but the arrows did return in the mid-1870s for a couple of years. So just an interesting factoid there. And then a fairly nice first year barber half here. As you can tell, not uncirculated by any means, but quite a bit of detail on it. These barber halves in uncirculated condition command prices, gosh, that are really in line with the much earlier cap bust halves up here for the same condition, roughly. I mean, you're talking 4 digits basically for any uncirculated versions of these. So just another reason why this one is circulated. So there you go, page 3 of the typeset. Starting to get into some real heavy old silver coins here. And page 4 will be upcoming here in a few days. So again, thanks for watching. Excited to show you page 4 here in the coming days.